Hi everyone, Nicholas Buffidis here from sunny Cyprus, and welcome to the first in the series of Minecraft Education Edition tutorials. Tutorials for the educator. So these tutorials are mainly going to be for education. We're not going to be looking at the survival mode of the game, but mainly for the creative part of the game so that we can use it in education and use it in many different subject topics. So the first thing that we need to know is that you need a 365 educational license to be able to use Minecraft Education Edition, and that license must also have a Minecraft Education Edition license associated with it. If you don't have a license, you're not going to be able to sign in. If you do have a license, then you can basically sign into any Minecraft Education Edition on any device with your school account. Okay, so that's the first and the most important thing. So if you can't sign in and you don't have a license, you really need to speak to your administrator to make sure that you've got a license associated with your account. Now, once you've opened Minecraft Education Edition, you've entered your email address and your password, Minecraft Education Edition will open up and you will see a screen similar to what we've got here. Now, we're going to be looking at all the different settings. This first tutorial is all about simply opening up Minecraft, checking the different world types and the game modes, and looking at all the different settings and understanding what most of these settings do, so you can make sure you get the best experience and you don't have any surprises when you do actually open up your world for your students to work in. Now, the first window looks like this. We're going to have a look at this first button here, switch account. Essentially, you can use this feature here if you're signed in with one account and you want to sign in with another account. Say somebody else is signed in with their account and you want to log in with your account. That's where you will go. You click on sign out and simply sign in. The next thing I want to have a look at is this here, the new and featured button. Now, Minecraft Education Edition comes out with new featured worlds, new challenges and competitions, global challenges, global build challenges, and you can find all of these directly from here. And you can see here you've got Hour of Code, Cyber Safe, the Home Sweet Hum. Now this is a new one, and essentially any one of these worlds, if you simply click on them, for example, if I go to Hour of Code, you get some information from here. You normally have a video link. Sometimes there's no video associated with it, so when you click on it, it doesn't work. I think this one does. There you go. So if you click on it, the video will actually open and it will give you a preview on what that is. So this is just an ad. Let's just skip the ad, and there you go. Okay, that will give you a little bit of information about what this world and what this challenge is all about. You've got some information. It tells you the age. This is from ages 17 to 18. Difficulty is beginner, and you get a lesson plan. So if you click on the lesson plan, you can see a lot of resources which are given to you as a teacher to share with your students. So if you scroll down, you will find, for example, over here, so you've got step 1, step 2, the lesson plan, facilitate an hour of code. It gives you instructions and resources as well. You've got assign or share. So if you want to assign this world or this challenge to your students, you can simply click on this, and look at that, it integrates directly into Microsoft Teams. So clicking on that will open a Microsoft Teams, and you can simply assign this to a group, to a class team, and it will assign it as an assignment for them. Okay, so let's go back. Now we're going to see some more libraries, and we're going to visit those in a second. The next thing I want to have a look at is settings. Now these, because I haven't opened the world yet, this is as soon as I'm logged in, these settings are only associated with this version of Minecraft Education on this computer that I'm working on right now. So these are like global settings. They will be applied to all of my worlds. I can access these from where I just showed you. So if I press escape, I go back. So directly from this page settings, and I'm in these settings here. Now I leave all of these mainly as default settings. I don't normally ever change any of them. The one or two that I do change, I'm going to show you again later when we open a world, because you can access these settings even after you've created the world from the world directly, and you can change them live. One of the ones that I do change, I do normally go to the audio section and I turn the music and the sound down, so I don't have the Minecraft music playing non-stop. And there are some other video ones sometimes that I might want to disable. For example, the full screen I don't enable, but sometimes what I do like to do is, and I will show you what that one is as well, the outline selection. When I'm actually looking at a block, it puts a black outline around the block, so I know which one is the active block where I'm going to build, for example, or which block I'm going to break. Sometimes I disable this because instead of that black outline, it actually lights it up. It makes it like spotlighted, and we're going to see that later when we start the game. So I'm going to leave all of these as default settings and simply go back. And now the last one we're going to have a look at, and probably the most important one, is this play button. And here we get some more options. So let's have a look at these. Now we're going to see in this video how we can actually import or actually export your world so that you can back it up. It's always important to save your worlds as a backup by exporting them, but you can also import a world that you created in the past. You want to open it again, a world that somebody has shared with you. So by clicking on import, it will open up a file explorer, and you will simply navigate to find that world. And you can see I've got here different worlds which I have exported and saved. So we're going to see that process towards the end of the video. The next one we're going to have a look at is join world. This is going to be a different video tutorial. This is all about creating your world as a server so that students can join your world, or other people can join your world, and you can all play together in the same world. Essentially, if you want to join a world, that's where you would go, and here you would enter the symbols which are given to you by the person sharing the world with you. So as a teacher, you will probably not be joining a student's world, you will actually be sharing a world, so you wouldn't be using this that much. Okay, the next one I want to have a look at before we go to create new is the view library. Now this is like the new and featured, but here you've got other categories. For example, these are subject kits. These are fantastic, really fantastic worlds that you can download freely and use them freely from Minecraft Education Edition, from the Minecraft Education team. And for example, you've got worlds here on climate and sustainability. So if you click on that, you've got, look at all these different worlds. Okay, so you can just choose any one of these and simply open it. Let's try, for example, you've got esports challenge 4. Well, let's just have a look at one of these. Let's say build with bees. So if I click on this, it again shows me the description of this world. I can click on this to view the video about this world. It gives you a difficulty level. You've got create world. That will open the world up in your version. You can click on lesson plan to see about resources which you can use for your students, and you can assign this to your students. Let's have a look at one more before we move on. Art and design. This is another good one. So if we go to art and design, most people don't realize you can use art with Minecraft. It's actually really good. So you've got influential artists, and you can click on this, and again you get some information about this. Again, ages 8 to 10. This is a big file. Look at that, it's 72 megabytes. The reason it's so big is because there are some fantastic pieces of art in this world. Pixel art, which, when you move away, you actually see the whole picture come to life. Again, you can download the world. You've got the lesson plan. You can assign it. Let's just have a look at one more. And for example, if you go into science, you've got things for, let's say, biology. Look at that. You've got different animal cell tour. That's a really nice one. Look, ages 14 to 18, and you've got a lot of information about this, student activities, a lesson plan, and a sign to share. So you've got a lot of resources here. This is quite a small world. Look at that, 0.15 megabytes. And if we've got time towards the end of this video, I will actually open one of these up. Okay, so if I go back, we're now going to go to the last one. And the last one here is to simply show, well, actually not the last one, we'll go to view my worlds. View my worlds is here. You've got all the worlds which you've opened. So if you've created the world from one of the ones in the library, let's say building with bees or whatever, you will actually see the world here in view my worlds, and you can actually export it and keep your own copy of it and back it up. So from here you've got access to all of your worlds, and you can click on any one of these to open them. Let's go back. The last one that we're going to have a look at, and this is probably the most important one for today's tutorial, is the create new. And then from here, the first thing you're going to do is give your world a name. So I'm just going to call this a tutorial 1. Now, the most important one is this, the default game mode. So this game mode, you've got 2 game modes. There's actually 3. There's an adventure mode as well. We're going to leave that for now. Survival is the game where students start the game. Their character is inside a world. They have no resources, no building blocks, absolutely nothing, and they have to survive. They have to survive the weather conditions. They have to survive the day and night. They have to survive from all the creepy crawlies and endermans and creepers which are out there to attack you and rob you and kill you. And it's all about slowly mining for resources, where the name Minecraft comes from, crafting things, crafting tools, making better tools, making some weapons, tools, so that you can actually mine more resources, get more blocks, and with those blocks you can build. So we're not going to work with the survival part of the game. It's a fantastic game if you want to learn to play Minecraft. It's really intuitive, and a lot of the settings in this page here are to do with the survival game mode. We want the creative mode because we want to keep the students focused on the topic at task. Now, the next part is whether it's difficulty. There's no difficulty in creative, so we don't really care about this. We'll leave that on peaceful. This section here, world preferences, this is all about when you actually share your world and have other people join your world, so you're all working in the same world together. When they actually join your world, how do you want them to join your world as? If they're going to be as a member, that means they're allowed to break things in your world and they're allowed to build things in your world. If you set this to visitor, that basically means it allows the visitors, the people that join your world, to actually explore your world, but they cannot destroy and they cannot build. And then you've got operator as well, which basically gives them full rights. They can run commands just like you can run commands. In fact, they can actually change your game mode and make you a visitor, and they take control of your game. So be a little bit careful about that. So I'm just going to leave that as member because I'm going to want my students to be able to work in this world. Now, the next one is the 2 world types, infinite or flat. Don't worry about old. Old is just an older version of an infinite world. So the 2 ones that you really care about are infinite and flat. Infinite, I'm going to show you these 2 worlds. I've got 2. I'm just going to press escape here. I'm going to go to view my worlds. This is an example of an infinite world. You can see in this infinite world that you've got a landscape, mountains, you've got rivers flowing, you've got different biomes. So you've got like flat areas, you've got snowy peaked mountains, you've got forests, you've also got a savanna, you've got some villages which are pre-built for you, and depending on which biome you're in, that will actually affect the type of blocks that you can find. This is a wonderful world if you want to get your students to actually create, let's say for example, an eco home, or a home with sustainability, so they can produce their own electricity. They would have to choose the appropriate location to build their home, for example somewhere near water, maybe somewhere near flowing water, so they can generate electricity from the flowing water. Maybe a mountain peak where they can generate electricity from wind turbines. So this is a really nice an environment for students to actually learn about the different biomes and building these biomes. However, it's a distracting world for students. If you're all working in this world together, students will get lost, they won't know where they're going, and they will tend to wander off and get off topic. So I prefer using a flat world. I'm just going to save and exit. Now I'm actually going to this pause menu here by pressing the escape key on the keyboard. So every time you press the escape key, you go from this pause menu and back to the game. So if I press escape, I'm going to save and exit, and that basically exits me out of that world. Don't get me wrong, the infinite world is a fantastic world. There are caves to explore, there's lava, you can hunt for diamond, coal, iron, gold. There's just so much. It's a very intuitive game. So if I just simply go here, I'm going to show you how you can start a new world without going to create new. View my worlds. I'm going to go to new world again. I'm going to call this tutorial 1 again. And again, we said that's going to be creative. We want everyone to come in as well. And we're going to make this now a flat world. And you're going to see what this flat world is when I click on it for it to generate. Essentially now, further down, we've got some other options. Now, these options are for this particular game. They're not for the general options or the general settings of your Minecraft Education Edition on the device that you're working on. So the first one is friendly fire. You want to make sure that's turned off. When you get people in there, you don't want people to be, throwing things at each other. Show coordinates. Now this is a really useful one. I'm going to turn that one on. It's really good because you know exactly where you are in the world. You can go back to where you want to go to if you get lost. And it's also good to teach students navigation. And we're going to be learning a lot more about this in the next tutorial. Fire spreads. Now there are some things that actually cause damage in the world. Things like fire. Fire will spread along unless you tick this off. And I'm just going to tick that one off. TNT explodes. We don't want TNT exploding. We don't want that because students love putting TNT and blowing everything up. So you want to do that. You want to go to mob loot. I'm going to leave this on so I can demonstrate this later, but essentially mobs are things that actually pop up like animals in your world, and if you kill those animals they actually leave things behind. Now if you do have mobs spawning all over the place, students will be distracted and will be more bothered about killing the animals rather than focusing on the task at hand. Natural regeneration. This is about survival mode. This is how you actually regain strength. Tile drops. Tile drops again, when you place some blocks, when you break them, instead of those blocks just vanishing, a tile will drop and you can actually pick that block up again. So if you place 20 blocks and then you break them, you can actually pick them up again and use them. Not important in creative mode. I'm just going to disable that because essentially you've got an unlimited amount of blocks in creative mode. Immediate respawn. Well, this is where you're going to pop up in the world, how quickly you're going to pop up if you die. Again, not important for creative mode. Cheats. Now cheats, I don't like the word cheats, but anyway, they call it cheats. You can activate these cheats or deactivate them by moving this slider switch. By enabling this, you can actually enable these cheats. So the first one I like modifying here is always day, especially if children are actually creating. The last thing you want is for it from day night time to go to night time and the students can't see clearly on their screen. So Minecraft is very intuitive. You've got what are known as ticks, and I think about 2,400 ticks is a cycle of 1 day, and it'll go from daytime to nighttime and nighttime to daytime. So if you leave it as always day, that's perfect for creative mode. Keep inventory. Again, this is something for survival mode. Essentially, if you die, you lose all your items unless you tick this on so you don't lose them when you spawn again. Mob spawning. Now this is where the entities, things like animals, will pop up randomly. I would want to turn this off, but I'm going to leave this on so I can demonstrate to you. Mob griefing. Mob griefing, again, survival mode. You've got some mobs, some entities like creepers, and if they come anywhere near your build, they blow up and they destroy your build or the things that you've been creating. So if you turn that off, they won't actually be able to destroy things on your build. Again, not important in creative mode because they won't exist there. Entities drop loot. Again, some entities, if you kill them, they leave items behind, loot. Again, for survival mode, not interested. And you can, all of these I'm turning them off, but you don't have to because you're in creative mode. The weather cycle. Now the weather cycle, again, unless you've got children in an infinite world and they're creating something to do, I don't know, about sustainability or something to do with the environment, you want to keep that weather cycle. You want the night and day to go on so they can demonstrate how things work in different times of the day or different weather conditions. Otherwise you can just turn this off. If you don't, if you're up in the snowy mountains, at some point it will start snowing. If you're down in the forest, at some point it's going to start raining. If you're in the forest, you're going to see thunderstorms. So it's a very, very intuitive game. Command blocks, we're going to see this in a later tutorial. For now you can leave this on or you can leave it off. We're going to learn how to use this by turning it on and off to our benefit later on. That's basically it. Once you've set up your settings, and we said the most important ones is to make sure you're creative. The members come in as member or visitor depending on what you've created. The world is flat. You put show coordinates. It's good so that students know exactly where they are. A mob looting, again, we're going to turn that off, and we're going to turn off mob spawning. Always days turned off, on, sorry, and the weather cycle is turned off. So these are really the most important ones. Now over here you've got other settings. These are all to do with the game. The classroom settings we're going to look at when we're going to learn about sharing a world and what we should turn on and what should we turn off so we don't get any surprises from our students. Okay, simply click on play, and that's going to create the world, and it's going to create a flat world. So we've seen what an infinite world is. This is our flat world, and you can see a flat world is basically a blank canvas. There is no mountains, no lakes, absolutely nothing. What you do get though, because we've got mob spawning enabled, you can see these mobs just popping up. So if I was to fly away where there's nothing, you're going to see these animals just popping up out of the blue. So if I just wait here now, there you go, you can see that's called mob spawning. You see 2 cows have popped up. And when you actually kill these things by hitting them, and this is where children, students, instead of focusing on what they should be doing, they sit there killing these poor little animals, and they leave behind this loot. You can see I've got some meat and some leather here, and by moving on I can actually pick those up. So you can actually see these now. Oh, this side, you can actually see these now in my inventory at the bottom. So if we want to disable that, so we don't get these animals popping up all over the place, they do actually disturb the build, they get in the way. I'm going to press escape. That brings me to my pause menu here. Go to settings. I'm going to go scroll down. Now again, you can turn off mob loot. So if I do kill an animal now, it won't leave anything behind. But more importantly, if I don't turn that off, I want to turn off mob spawning. And that's going to prevent animals popping up all over the place. To go back, you don't need to save. You just press escape. That takes you back to the previous menu. Press escape again. And there you go. And now if I move away, you can see no more animals are going to be spawning in my world, leaving me a blank canvas so that I can create or bring my students in so that we can create together. Okay, now what we're going to have a look at next, so we've just created the world, we've looked at the different settings that we can create. Know that the escape button is probably the most useful button, because that button there can actually help you go to the pause menu, and you can go to the settings and change things. The other really useful button is on your keyboard, the F5 button. Every time you press the F5 button, it changes the view of the game. So here you can see I can see my player from behind, and as my player walks along, I can actually see my player walking around. If I press F5 again, I can see my player from the front. It's kind of a difficult view because everything is the other way around. Since I'm standing in front of my player, right is left and left is right, and backwards and forwards there. So by pressing F5, you toggle through the different views. That's a really good one. I prefer this view here, the first person view, the FPV view. And that's it for now. So let's have a look at how we can actually export our world, so we can save it, keep a backup copy of it, and how we can actually import a world and delete a world. So from this world here, the first thing that I'm going to do, let's say I've built some things here. I'm just going to dig out just some blocks here. You're going to see why in a second. I'm going to press escape, and now I've got the option to save and exit. So if I save and exit again, go to my view worlds. Now this world, there it is, tutorial 1, and you can see it actually shows me a thumbnail, a screenshot of the last thing that was visible on my screen when I clicked save and exit. So that's a good little tip there. So if you want to help yourself recognize what world is what, not just by the name that you've given, but by your build. If you're looking at your build when you click save and exit, that's going to be your thumbnail. Okay, now keep in mind these worlds are saved locally on your computer, the computer that you're actually working on. So if you actually go to another computer, sign into Minecraft Education Edition, your worlds will not be there. So they don't go with your account, they stay locally on your device. If your device breaks down, your hard drive is corrupted, or you lose it, you lose your worlds. So you need to know how to back up your worlds, and that's what we're going to do now. So from after you've signed in, let's say you've signed in, you're going to go to the play, go to view my world, and from here you've got 2 ways to export your world. Click one time on the thumbnail. Clicking on play will allow you to open the world. Host will allow you to share the world with other people. If you go to settings or manage, now the easiest one is manage, but I'm going to go to settings first. Scroll down all the way to the bottom, and you've got here export world, delete world, or copy world. Now I'm not going to use them from here, I'm just showing you that you can access them from there, but you can also access from here. So if I click here and go to manage, I've got copy, export, delete, quick access. So I'm going to export my world. File Explorer will open up. I'm going to give I'm going to choose where I'm going to save. So I'm saving this on my desktop, you can see at the top, and I'm going to leave it with the default name. The name is the actual name which I gave to my Minecraft world, tutorial 1, and it gives it the extension MC World. So you go to the location you want to save, click on save, And that's it. You get the message at the top, level export finished successfully. So now you've got a backup of your world. Really easy. And if you wanted to bring your backup at any point, let's say you've lost this world, I'm just going to click here, manage, delete that world. That world is now gone. You can see it's not there anymore. If I want to import my world, let's just go back. I'm going to go to here, import. I'm going to go to where I've got my world saved on my desktop. Here's my tutorial 1. I double click on it. And there you go. It's imported the world successfully at the top. Go to view my world, and here's my world. And you can see it's even kept the thumbnail. So if I go to play, that will open up. Now, this is also a good way to keep backups or versions of your world. This is one way. So if I destroy a little bit more here, so if I make a bigger mess of all this, instead of just those 3 blocks, I'm now going to press escape, save and exit. I've exited that. If I go to view my world, you can see the last screenshot I had is there. I just made a mess of this world. I don't want this world. I want to go back to my backup. I'm just going to click on delete so I don't clutter my worlds. Go to manage, delete that world, and then I can simply go back, import my world again, and I'm back to where I was when I started. There you go. Level imported successfully. So I can open that up. Okay, now the other way that you can test with your world, so that if you want to try something out, or you're going to start a build and you're going to modify the bit, and you're a little bit skeptical about it, you can make a copy of this world. So I'm going to click here, go to manage, copy, and that will automatically create, there you go, a carbon copy of the world. So I've got 2 of them exactly the same. That will allow me to open this one up, modify it. If I'm happy with it, I can keep it and delete this one. I can rename it by going to the settings so it doesn't have the word copy. If I want this one, is actually going to be this. Let's just delete that. So I'm just going to put C tutorial, copy tutorial 1, and simply go back, and you can see it's given a new name. So very easy to make backups. So please make backups of your worlds, and if you save them on a cloud like OneDrive, you've got access to your worlds from anywhere. Okay, but remember, when you open that world, it's saved locally on that device. So I'm going to click here, delete this world. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back and just demonstrate how we can add a world from the library. So if I go to the library, because I like finding some of the really useful worlds from the library and making a backup of my own in case they vanish from there at some point. So I'm going to go to one of these subject kits here. I'm going to go to, which one should we do? Let's do a maths one. So here are some different worlds. You've got fractions, for example. You've got different worlds here on fractions. And this one's here got 3D fractions, and you can see they're actually using blocks, different blocks, white and red, to understand fractions. This one here in the middle is like a third. Okay, so I'm going to click on create world, and what that does essentially, it adds it into the my worlds. There you go, it's imported successfully, and now it's going to open the world again. And there you go. I've got this here. I've got my agent. We'll talk about the agent at some other point. We've got the different NPCs that we can open up, right click on and get some information from them. And then again, I can actually break this world if I want. Okay, I can actually modify it. So it's entirely up to you what you do. But if I press escape and save and exit, I'll go to, there's my world there. And if I want to export this, before I broke some blocks, I can keep a copy of it. I can simply go here, manage, and export that world. And I've got a backup of that world, so I can call up whenever I want without going to the library. Okay, that's it. If you've learned something new, make sure you subscribe. And if you do subscribe, you'll be notified when I come up with the next version, the next video tutorial. The next one's going to be on navigation and moving around in Minecraft. And then from there on, we're going to do some more. Make sure you like, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.